served on the meeting that Mr. Kraus will describe. He served as chairperson that night because Mr. Musantri was not able to attend. But Mr. Musantri is the person who was elected as the chairperson for the 2018 school year. Or 2018, 2019, I guess, in some ways. In any case, that meeting did conclude as they do with the election of those. I would also note that the committees were assigned that night. There are committees of policy, finance, and facilities at the vocational school as standing committees. In addition, there are two non-standing committees, if you will, at least ones that don't meet regularly. One is the committee that does negotiations. Fortunately for the vocational school, we do not have negotiations that were entered into this year. So that committee can rest on their laurels for now. And then there's also a committee that serves to negotiate or agree to the Act 93 agreement with the administrators. And that committee will be meeting because that is something that's overdue to be updated. In addition to that, there was the regular board meeting. It was a very short meeting due to the Christmas season or the holiday season upcoming. This was on the 24th, the darkest day of the year, literally, not figuratively speaking. And the motions on there were minimal, basically paying the bills over the December period. I would also note that in addition to Dr. Radigan's retirement, we are facing the retirement of Mr. Wagenseller, the executive director at the Upper Bucks Vocational School. And obviously Dr. Radigan will, along with the other two superintendents, she is the superintendent of record. The three of them will be searching for a new candidate and bringing it before the JOC sometime in the foreseeable future. So there will be a change there as well. Mr. Kraus, hopefully you could fill in on the 21st, or I could try, but since I forgot my notes, I think you probably do a better job.
Thank you, Dr. Yarnell. The JOC did meet on January 18. At that time, we approved the consent calendar as well as the revised school calendar to align with the three sending districts. Also, at that meeting, there was a motion to approve and accept the PDE supplemental equipment grant in the amount of $18,479 to assist with equipment upgrades. General announcements, it was a very short meeting, so that's all that was on the agenda for that. And the next Upper Bucks board meeting is scheduled for February 15th. At the tech school.
Do you have a motion?
Yes, I do. That escaped me. We do have one motion. My apologies. And that is a motion to approve the following appointments to the Upper Bucks Technical School Committee. William Kraus for the term of 3 years, Catherine Dolan for the term of 2 years to fill Mrs. Suzette Schmidt's remaining 2-year term.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Kraus, seconded by Dr. Yarnell. Any comments or questions? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries 9-0. All right, Mr. Kraus?
All right, the next UB CTS board meeting is scheduled for February 15th at Devotech.
Okay, and next item up is, or next committee is technology. That's you as well.
Okay. The technology committee did not meet. I'm sorry, the technology committee did not meet. Our next regular scheduled meeting is February 5th.
Okay, next committee report is Act 48. Mrs. Walters.
The Act 48 committee met on January 11th, and we reviewed a draft of the 2018-2019 district calendar and watched a brief webinar on the Act 48 requirements for our teaching staff. And our next meeting is on March 8th.
Okay. Thank you. Next committee report is the Pennridge Area Coordinating Committee. Well, it's not really there's a committee, so we have the liaisons, Mrs. Dolan and Mrs. Kildare.
There was no meeting in December. The next meeting, I believe, is January 25th.
Okay. All right, thank you. And we are up to old business. Any old business? Okay. Next, I have an announcement, or the announcements. The next regular school board meeting is scheduled for February 26, 2018. An executive session and a super executive session were held on January 3rd, 2018 for the purpose of discussion of the terms and conditions of employment of a number of district employees as well as labor and arbitration matters. A super executive session preceded tonight's meeting, and an executive session will follow tonight's meeting for the purpose of discussion of the terms and conditions of employment of a number of district employees as well as labor and arbitration matters. So we have this triple play tonight. All right, so we are back to public comment. Any public comment?
Good evening, Diane Herring, Hilltown Township. You'll have to forgive me because there wasn't a copy outside and their service in here is not great. I believe on the agenda this evening there was a contract vote for Life Touch, if you could confirm that or not. Okay, it's my understanding, and I've asked about this previously, but it's never been publicly disclosed, regarding the amount of money that the district gets in receipt of the student photos that are taken. I bring this to your attention because as the mother of 2 graduating seniors at the same time this year, I have been inundated with solicitations from Life Touch to purchase senior photos. There is no discount if you have multiples, and the average package cost ranges between $300 and $500 per child for a relatively respectable sized package. That being said, however, the package solicitations come with a 40% discount on some solicitation emails, 20%, 30%. I mean, if something is that discounted, it only begs to ask what's the raw real cost. Then to find out that the district also gets money back, I'd be interested, how do I find out exactly how much the district's getting back out of that money? Is that a right to know request for a copy of a contract, or is that something that the board is willing to disclose?
I'm sorry, it perhaps is in the contract, but I don't know if I can find it right now. Yeah, I don't know, so it says, and I'm just like, I don't know if this is what I'm finding right now when I'm looking at it. It says that establish an underclass commission in the amount of $3 for each package sold. Funds will be paid to the school district. And then it says establish a senior commission in the amount of $10 per senior photographed. So it actually doesn't say for that one that it's not based on, doesn't seem like that one's based on purchase, that one's just on photograph. And I do know, having a senior myself, that students, the yearbook picture has to be done by them, but there's no obligation to purchase.
Correct.
And I do know some people who they have their yearbook picture taken and then they go to Sears or JCPenney and have pictures done there and buy those packages. So there's no obligation to buy the
Right, well,
pictures.
that raised the next question, because there was, my question is, in the years past, it's always not been clear whether the senior gets to keep the cap and gown or just the cap. So I don't know how that's gonna work out this year.
But that's not related to the picture, though. That's
Well, if you want your picture of your student in their cap and gown, it is.
no, but you have the picture taken in the year before, and then they get their cap and gown at graduation.
They are getting their gown, because in years past, some classes have not.
Okay, I don't know. That would be a question for the high school
Okay.
administration.
Okay, no problem, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
Hi, I'm Tina Gerhardt. I'm from Bedminster Township. First, I'd like to say thank you to Dr. Adigan and good luck to the board for replacing her with somebody as decisive and confident. It's been a nice experience for my kids to be in the district with such a great superintendent. My other comment is to revisit the Jewish holidays. We're off on Columbus Day now, at least the kids are. I don't remember if it was an in-service day or if it was a actual day off for the district. And I know they fall around the same time of year. And I just know that you've already approved the calendar. It's not a possibility for next year, but just something to think about. Maybe if it falls around the same time, could we not swap them? Because a lot of parents aren't, feeling any type of like special affection for Columbus Day being off. I mean, it's just basically a nuisance to not be able to go to the bank. So I just thought I'd mention that because I think the last couple years before this year, they were in school on Columbus Day. So I was actually a little surprised this year when they had off. And if it makes, Jewish families in our district feel more comfortable to have both of their holidays celebrated just as Easter and Christmas are celebrated, then maybe it would make more sense to not be off on Columbus Day. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, any comments? I don't see any other public comment. Any comments or questions from the press? Okay, so I don't see any press, so our meeting is adjourned. Thank you everyone for coming tonight.